ideologies must align. Because what's the purpose of having a tall guy that thinks the women belong in the kitchen, an entire CA like me in the kitchen? I'm not saying I will not cook, but if it is your ideology that, there are some women that believe that for you to show love, you have to beat me. What would you do if you find a woman like that? Some people think if you're not beating them, you don't love them. Because if a child, a father loves, a father discipline. They even quote the Bible to it. So what would you do? Like, baby, you are not even slapping me. You don't love me. What do you do then? So your ideologies must also align. So the physical, yes, it's quite important. Have what your non-negotiables, like you cannot compromise. But then at the end of the day, if you get to know the person, have you ever seen a couple where you see the husband, you're like, sure, he's so fine. And then you see the wife, you be like, ow, how did you end up? How did you end up? Or you see the wife, she's so beautiful, but who did she marry? Haibo. So I feel like it's a very individual thing. Personally, you need to figure out what is important to you, what your non-negotiables are. If you can look past the below, and by looking past, it's not just for the purpose of marriage. Don't now say later you see a lady with nicer curves and you're like, Once you've chosen, you are committed and you're intentional about your choice. So you need to ask yourself, is this important to me? Can I live with this for the rest of my life happily? If the answer is a yes, then you just need to go ahead. It's a very individual thing. Amen? Yeah, there's a question there. Did I answer your question, Pastor Val? Okay.
Okay, thank you. My question is, right, in a world where like last year, apparently the statistics were that over half of every marriage in the world is going to fail or end up in divorce. Why are we still promoting marriage? Like, I know that, okay, we're Christians, we were doing it because God, that's what God has, commanded us to do, if I should say it like that. But like, personally speaking, almost everyone in my family ended up in divorce or never been married because their relationships just never get there. And it's just been a cycle. It's just a cycle of pain, and it's happening all over the world. And nowadays it's even worse. And also, as a Christian, you're preparing yourself for marriage. You go through these summits, you're going through these classes, but then you're going to go out there and meet a whole lot more people that are not going through all of this and that are not taking all these things serious. More people don't want to get married. More people are just going into life partnerships. Like, why are we still talking about get married?
Evangelist Aban, you are inside. What are we missing? Why should we even bother?
Good morning, everyone. Just to answer the question that has been asked, there's actually more than one question in that question. But to sort of sum it all up, marriages now, the foundation that we set the marriages on, it's where we actually start off failing the marriage. If the foundation of the marriage is not wholly on Christ, there will always be issues in our marriages. And also in what you want as an individual before you come into marriage. We have different characters, we have different things we want, but we also sometimes compromise on some of the things we are not supposed to compromise when we get in the marriage. I'll give an example. You know that maybe the person that you are getting married to doesn't have the capacity in terms of finances to do what you personally want when you get in the marriage. Or some of the behaviors you don't like as an individual from another person, or you don't want it to be part of your marriage. So we sort of compromise to say that if I get into this relationship, these things, which you shouldn't even be compromising on as the things that you don't want, you said you would never compromise on. We end up saying that we can actually fix them while we are in the marriage or while we are in the relationship. So I think as the first thing, those are the things that we need to get right in relationships, to say that if there's this kind of behavior, which myself as a godly person I don't engage into that, or I don't want to be a part of that. We need to put our foot down, whether a man or a woman, to say that I will never allow myself to be in this kind of situation. Because if we get it wrong there, then obviously going forward, the challenges that we then experience, or even some of the issues that come, whether it's issues in the marriage or issue with an individual, that will be the main cause in most cases, where the foundation and the things that we accept actually cause us some issues there. So that's what we need to try and get right, our foundation, and making sure that the compromises we make, we are not compromising ourselves, and we are also not compromising God.
Thank you. I think Sis D has a little contribution.
Yeah, I do. So the best answer to your question that I've ever heard is, again, it goes back to society. I kind of understood when this man gave an explanation is that we are in a society of dating and dumping. It's not going to be any different in a marriage. If you don't try in the dating phase to fix things and your easiest solution, and I'm not talking about abusive, the extremes, right, where you actually need to leave. I'm talking about where you can't even get over basics. You can't agree on basic thing. How are you going to agree in that marriage? So, and it goes back to how, when we say back in the day, marriage was valued. Our parents stayed. Even when I shared myself that you look like, why are you staying with this Negro? You deserve better, right? But she understood what marriage was. In my opinion, I would have said, if I saw in the papers, I would sign them first before you did, because I thought you deserved better. But it's an attitude we've created amongst ourselves in the dating world, that if it doesn't work, just quit, move on to the next one. If that does not work, quick, it's not going to be any different in the marriage, because that's exactly what people do, is that they don't want to fight for marriage anymore. The easiest thing to do is, if you bore me, or you don't like me, or you change, which is a natural phase of life, is that who I am today, I'm not the same person I was when I was 30. I'm not going to be the same person I am right now at 50. People change, and you don't take that into consideration, your marriage is going to fail.
Just to reiterate, right? So I think you actually asked the question, why are we even venturing into marriage now? So it's almost like 50% of marriages end up in divorce. Why do I then have to even bother if it's all failing in the end, right? Okay, Mami? Why should we even desire marriage?
Good morning. Just in short, because marriage was created by God. That is number one. So if marriage is not working, can we check what is it that we are doing wrong? Are we following God's principle or way, or are we following our own? Because if it was created by God, then we need to check, as Ndata Tabang said, the foundation.
Thank you. Any other contribution before I ask the next question? Because I have a question too. Okay, so do you have a question or a contribution? Okay, so do you remember the question? Okay.
The second one was, why do people still get married, and why are they still pushing that agenda/idea of marriage, regardless of the high divorce rate? And the reason is, marriage is the structure. If the marriage is good and it works, and then marriage is where you learn how to live in the society, how to become a better person out there. That's what I just strongly believe, that marriage is a structure. That's where everything starts. That's where you first get educated. If the parents' upbringing to the children is good, then they're going to go out there and they're going to have a better society and a better world at large. The part where, which touched me the most is when she said that why, though there's a high rate of divorce, but people are still promoting marriage, right? In a way, she's saying it's as if that if there is a pandemic, right? The pandemic has killed almost all the people in the world. Somara, I take a bullet, already a gun, and kill myself before the pandemic reach me. So you want to kill yourself because majority of people already are dead. But then you don't know that you might survive that pandemic. You see, if I'm trying to answer your question, yes. So you cannot stop people from not promoting marriage, because for other people it's collapsing. You never know. If you try yours might work. As he said, the foundation. So you might start up in the right foundation and build just in a way that it will last. Because let us not focus on the majority of the ones that is failing. Let's look at least even on the 30% who are trying so hard to hold on into the marriage. They can be our models or our guidance. So when you pay attention to the ones that is falling, so you will enter into your marriage into fear. So even if there's a small percentage of those who are holding on to, it's better and rather you hold on even to that little percentage of the people. Yes.
Evangelist Abang?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to do a follow-up on what Evangelist Diana had said.
Okay.
With regards to, it's as if like we are promoting people to jump from one marriage to another. If we correct that in terms of correcting the foundation before people are even married, remember there's a dating process.
That's the
Yes.
summit we're having
So,
now.
yeah, so that's where now you need to then make sure that if I'm still looking or I'm with somebody, what are the things that I need to then identify, which are very important to me, that can actually cause me to divorce or can actually even crash the marriage in the future. Once you then pick up that, okay, we can actually even move some of the issues with the same person after 10 years, after 20 years, then I can most guarantee you that apart from other things which might be there in terms of afflictions from her background, my background, our marriage just between ourselves should be able to stand on what has been set as the foundation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I think it just spoke back to the thresholds we discussed briefly. I don't know if I mentioned commitment threshold. So as you're a single person, right, do you pick up projects and dump it at the slightest inconvenience? So it's even outside relationship, your general attitude towards things. You start a new program, you start with that excitement at the beginning. Ooh, I'm going to get this. You have that energy. But then along the line, it gets, I registered, I move right along. And you pick projects like that. There is a good chance that when you get into a relationship and you hit the first rock bottom, you're just like, no. But I really think she summed it all up as well in responding to the whole, why do we still promote it? I tell myself every time I see another news on the blog that a couple broke up, I'll say to myself, I will get married and mine will work. Mine will work. So we just need to keep reiterating against the norm of the world. Remember, we are not conforming to what we see. We are being transformed because our mind is renewed, right? So there is a lot of things that we see around, fine. But at the end of the day, marriage is a beautiful thing. I know I said at the beginning that it is easier to be happier as a single person than it is when you're married. Very true. But there's a level of happiness you also derive in marriage that you essentially might not be able to attain if you're single. Pastor Val, you have a contribution. Short and simple.
Good morning, everyone. Among the things which were mentioned, what I want to add is that now we are spiritual. Marriage, as they said, is God who started it. It's godly. And God wanted that way. But the enemy want to frustrate and make sure that marriage does not stand, so that it will be worthless in the society. Yeah, there are people out there who are encouraging divorce. They are ready. But God is encouraging unity for His glory, and it's for our good. Now, if, for example, I realize that in my family where I'm coming from, people die with cancer, and there's a certain age, it will eventually kill them. And I know God is able to heal all sicknesses, and I've seen such. If I'm a child of God, I understand that, which I need to understand. I need to pray that circle that has been killing people in my family doesn't kill me. If there is anything that ends goodness in my family, must not end this one. If that circle is not broken and I've not understood that, it's still going to break it. Because that force is powerful. It's another altar which has been discussed already that I need to understand as a child of God, unless you're not a Christian. But we need to understand where we are coming from, where we are, how God should intervene before we even make our own decisions. Because if it has not been conquered, it will conquer me.
Yes, oh, by the way, refreshments at the back. You can go grab something and then come back, so we can continue the discussion. I think my question is, as a single person, right? And this is it's a wondering that I have, and I want everyone to contribute. I work from home. I stay in Johannesburg. I am a Nigerian, and I want to marry a Nigerian man. And what else again? The only place I almost go is maybe to church and to the shops to go shop. My question is, and I'm single and I want marriage, where do I find those people? Who kind of has like, do you understand my question? So, I'm asking just on a general note on behalf of everyone and all of that, suggestions on where you can actually, I know, conferences like that, like this is a good idea, you meet people, godly people in the same setting, and then there's church. But where then do you meet people? How do you meet people? That's my question.
My side.
Evangelist.
Pastor name.
Pastor, yeah. Where did you find your husband? Where can we find our own? People of God, I watched a movie where this lady would go to weddings to catch bouquet because a friend caught a bouquet and got a man from there. So just give us ideas. Where are the hot spots? Where are things happening now?
Good morning, Church. Given the scenario that you gave, it's different from mine. You are working from home. Meaning about you only shop on weekends or only for an hour.
Or you just shop online, they deliver it to your house.
Yes, and most of the time it's either you're shopping or you're extending grace. About only 20% of your time you're out of this environment, right? So the question is, where can you find
how do we meet potentials then?
husband? UICA, right?
It's not about me, it's just a general
Yes,
question.
No, I want to come to the level of the person that you are.
Okay.
Yes. You can go to like places like Kumbooks because you want a certain type
So you
of
said restaurants?
The restaurants where maybe you can see
People of God, solo days.
Comfortable.
Solo days?
Yes. And you still have a tutor at the higher institution.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Scratch that out.
A restaurant, it depends also what kind of a restaurant you are going to, because it's hard because I cannot say the movies. It's very
Thank you.
because at the movies you can find anybody, but if you are specific on those kinds, at the weddings.
They already paid at the movies. That's what they go to. So
Yeah, you tell them
At the weddings, as you said, maybe you are looking for a Nigerian guy. If there's a wedding for a Nigerian,
You go there.
you can go there. You know, most people go to weddings to go and, a fish, if I can put it that way.
Baby, where did you find your baby? Funeral. T, do you have an opinion? Suggestions?
I have a suggestion.
Okay.
If you have a great and loving family member who will invite you to a summit, you might just get lucky and find someone. So.
Have you found anyone? Because
Ask me after.
Brother Ife.
I just have a question on what she said, because she's saying she's a CA, right? And she's a Nigerian, and she wants to marry a Nigerian. And she's working from home. She has to look at the environment she's in. How much access does she have to these Nigerian men she's looking for? Because if that's what she's looking for, she needs to put herself there. And right now where she is, are they there? If they are not there, she needs to find a compromise for it. That's what I have to say.
Thank you. Any other question?
Yes.
Well,
Contribution. Okay. My contribution is this. naturally speaking, each bird, they have their type tree. They have a specific type of tree where they go and sit on. They don't just sit on any type of tree. So if you're looking for someone who's muscular, go to the gym. There you're going to feed someone according to your category. You want somebody in this, yeah, go target that place, specific people according to that. If you're looking for someone, yes, we know that in church there is everyone, but in church then you need to be very careful because even those who are not like that can be there. So go to where there is your type, because we at the end we are all going to attract what we want, what is inside us. That is.
Thank you. Let's give a round of applause. You said check around your... No, the question that I asked might seem a bit personal, but I think questions that singles oftentimes ask is, especially with this world of remote working, where do I find one? Because it's really easy for you to be single and not even have anyone you're talking to. But I have additional pointers. Don't bite me. If your Instagram is on private, put up your hand. If you have a private Instagram account, so they have to request before they follow you. If you have an Instagram page where you only post once in a year, once or twice, pictures of yourself, there you go. If you have an Instagram account where your last picture was taken in 2020, so your last post is around 2020. So the point I'm actually trying to get to is, we are children of God, we should use social media appropriately. However, the world has kind of become our oyster. You'll be shocked at the number of people that are finding their potential partner on social media. So if you really are single and you want to explore that one, excuse me, before you start checking all of the thresholds, checkpoints, you still need to meet somebody, right? So in a world where there's remote working and all of that, put yourself out there. Go to restaurants, like she said, on solo dates. Because only if you want to marry a take-a-lot delivery guy or Uber guy, nobody will come knock on your door to say, hey, or maybe you are looking for a burglar, so the burglar just jumps via your window, sees you, fall in love. But if that is not the case, you need to put your... There's a girl that is marrying a famous singer in Nigeria. What she essentially did was dance to his song. She danced, she posted it, tagged him on it, he saw it, and now they're getting married next week. So what I'm saying in essence, you'll find like this, when we went for this Jesus Christ encounter, somebody posted on a story, and then the artist reposted on his story, and part of those viewing the artist's story was, you are in my city, followed the girl. Imagine they're in the same city, the same area, but they never met. So in a world where there's remote working, there's all of that, please be visible. He that finds a good, make sure you are findable. Don't be hidden and trusting God. We can trust God, but faith without work is dead. So you need to put in the work. Go out more. Dress up more. And I'm also speaking to myself. Be more visible. If you don't want to post picture, post on your story. People will scroll by. And I don't know if it's just me. If I post a picture on my story, my DMs get fuller. Because at least, although I go to their profile and I say nope, but at the end of the day, you still say nope. But it's still better than seeing options and saying no than to just be there and not speaking to anyone, not looking at anyone, no one is talking to you. So those are my additional suggestions. Question? Hold on.
Statistically, apparently, in this day and age, I think when I saw it, it was 67% of people actually meet their partners through other people. It's not social media, it's not, I'm not saying that social media does not work. So the idea is, if you know, please don't try this with me, but if you know somebody and you know a place, for example, and you meet somebody and you think, maybe they'd hit it off. So that's apparently the statistics right now. 67% of people who get married or have said they met each other through a friend or a relative or thing like that. Just thought I should put it out there.
So there's a bonus for referring a friend. So refer a friend. First of all,
reference is good. You know, I trust somebody and when the person don't know the person. Fine. My question is, why is it difficult that why is it difficult for us as Christians to trust each other? For example, I'm praying to have to have somebody. And this somebody is single too, is praying to have somebody. We are all in the same place, fine. Give me one husband, look, I'm trusting. How long? Even talking, I'm single too, you are single. But that's been going.
To trust the same patient.
We are not the one I'm looking for.
But why is the person not the one? What if it's just a matter of familiarity? So there's this other movie I saw with Pastor yesterday. This lady fasted for 30 days, looking for a husband. On the 30th day, a driver brought her Valentine gift. And she's like, oh no, never, not you. She ended up with a guy though. But then, what if it's an issue of just familiarity? Just because I see Brother Dan every Friday, if he looks at me funny, I'll be like, are you no problem? Brother Dan. No, it's just an example. After service, my dad and I will hug and make up. But what I'm saying is, at times, first of all, it might just be familiarity. You're familiar, you're just too familiar, and you just don't think of that person in that way. And a lot of us are missing our spouses because of familiarity. We're just too familiar with the person and we don't think it's the person. Other than that.
Oh. Wait, Pastor. When she mentioned the issue of familiarity, suppose, instead of me calling her blessing, I start calling her sister and those. The way we call each other, can it also affect the way we should be able to, Does it organize? Okay.
Are you proposing that we don't call ourselves sister and brother again in the church?
So that don't call something that prevents another one because now it goes into, I'm not your sister, we're not from the same family, but.
I think the reason why you cannot approach a sister that you know is because you know her very well. You know her attitude, you know her behavior and character. And it's the things that you are not looking for. You understand? Maybe it's the things that you cannot tolerate in your life. So it becomes difficult for you to approach that person.
So then is it wrong to open up to people?
It's not wrong. You can see a lady in the church and you like the person. Based on maybe on our character, yes, it's fine. But most of us, what we are looking for, especially like men, what we are looking for in a lady can be 2 or 3 things based on your purpose in life. So if the person does not qualify for those things, you cannot approach the person. Okay. Yes.
But then if there is the sister, brother, church wall already, you don't even know if the person is everything and more, other than the sister-brother relationship you have with the person.
If you don't.
So if I don't think of you a certain way, I will not see some things in you.
If you are not looking, if you are looking for someone, you will know the person.
I'm not saying looking, I'm saying if I don't, so I'm looking for something, but if I don't see you as somebody I can find that thing in you, I will not see it in you. Because the way you look at me, Mama Pastor, can you explain to him?
No, actually I agree with Sister Blessing, because that's why in some churches you find that they do this thing of mix and match. You find that the pastor is recommending a wife to a brother, and then immediately when they say, have you seen Sister so and so? And like, Sister Blessing, she's loud and whatever. And then the pastor says, no, I prayed about it, she's a wife.
No.
And then I'm not talking about particularly. I'm talking about here in St. Grace, we are a small church.
Yes.
We know each other. But there's churches where you find there are about 3 services. And they don't even meet certain people.
No, not like
they don't even, or they might know, I know this figure, or I know this person from a distance, but you never heard a voice, you don't know a character.
Was the brother looking for a partner or not?
Yes, the brother, in fact, both of them, like in this summit. And then saying, no, I know, there's no idea I can date that person. And then the pastor will say, no, just go and eat. Just go and eat together. There's testimonies like that. Yes. There's testimony. You find that you just know a person from a distance. And at times we get to judge people wrongly. Do you know that in church?
Innocent people.
No, because Evangelist Susan said a particular thing about me. And then so you don't want to open anything regarding me.
No, that one.
You don't want to learn anything. You just, oh, okay, she's that particular. You box that person with one mistake. And you miss the entire.
No,
you know,
I don't think most of
exactly.
men are like that. You know, for example, somebody can come to me and say maybe something very negative to another person. You cannot take it serious and judge the person based on what they told you. It's better you know the person by yourself. You understand? So I don't think it's going to be a good thing if somebody comes to you and say this social person is not good in this and that, cannot be a wife material. You understand?
No, but I appreciate the question, Pastor Paul, because you seldomly see like a brother, sister in church sort of come together to be together, like from like, just like we've always been in church and all of a sudden I'm with this brother, at least in SGF, and I feel like that's one of the purpose of summits like this. So we meet each other outside, come out of our, let's live up on the hands and worship. Just to sort of also look at ideologies. I'm sure that in the process of answering questions, you get to know some people on a better and deeper level, their ideologies, and you kind of see how it aligns with yours. And an attraction can spark from there. Are we together?
Yes, we are together.
Amen. You want to say something?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I want just, this question is directly to ladies.
Okay.
To ladies?
Yes. What do you think, or what can be the reason for men staying away, or like, you know, when the men start knowing you, and suddenly the person just stop, you know, he just stay away from you, or he stop everything. What may be a reason for that?
I think I have a counter question. Shouldn't that be a question for the man, because it's the one that stood away?
No, like according to you ladies, how
Oh,
do you understand?
I see. So, but that question is, per your understanding as a lady, and I'm sure a couple of us might have experienced it at a certain point, that you're getting close to a guy, and you feel like it's going well, but all of a sudden the guy is now low-key moving. So what do you think the reason is? I personally feel like it's the guy that needs to come and tell us what his problem is. But if you're saying we should do a self-assessment, what do you think might be the cause of that?
I won't tell you if you want.
Ladies! Daya, you need to release that mic at some point.
I think it's a combination of things, right? It's not just one thing. One, I mean, the most obvious and probably the one that is looking off is like behavior-wise. That's where it would start. If you're attracted to somebody and you see them behaving, otherwise it might just decide. You might decide like, okay, this is not a thing for me. But in my experience, and I stand to be corrected, and one day I'll ask God about this, but you know, you get into somebody and you know they like you, you know this, and you're like, say something. I can't be the one doing the work, right? Say something. And brothers doesn't, but you know this for a fact. This is not an assumption you make. You know that he likes you. What I found out is that sometimes the friends, the influence, again, it goes back to who knows you. You're listening to somebody else when they tell you about me. It's like, no, stay away from that one because she's A, B, C, and D, and you don't take you don't take the opportunity for yourself to get to know me. We can go to spiritual things. Pastor speaks all of it. Spiritual reasons. Whether it's you or me, you see something in me that's actually not there. I mean, it's a number of combination of things, but the reality is, maybe rejection as well. I know some guys are afraid. They think you're going to reject them, but you never know.
They're not on your level.
That's
Yeah, you never know if you don't try. The worst I can say is, thank you, but you're like a brother to me, and we move right along. But at least you got it. At least you got it out. So would you rather suffer and wonder if I feel the same way? Would you rather know so you can move on?
There's a question here.
Okay, my question is, isn't it we already established that as a man, it's important for him to be able to provide, although it's not essential, it's not necessary, but it's part of one of the things to be as a man. My second question is, in terms of age, is the man required to be the older? Like, because I've heard stories that ladies usually have this idea that they mature faster than men. So, yeah, so they believe that they can't be with a man that's younger than them because their mentality is already above that. From my perspective, because with the way I was raised and the way I grew up, I matured. I was forced to mature very early. So I've seen things I heard that most women wouldn't see. So when it comes to dating women that are younger than me, I've realized that they're not there. So I would prefer going for now someone that's older than me. Not because they're older. It makes, socially looking at it, it's like I'm doing something wrong in terms of tradition. So I want to know, is there a socially acceptable age as a man? Like, do you have to be the older one in the relationship?
Evangelist Susan, I want you to take it first, and then Mama Sharon will take it after. You don't? Thank you. Nice to hear your voice.
Okay, good morning. I just want to share something that I heard from Pastor T.B. Joshua's sermon. He was delivering another lady. Then he told this woman that you've been praying for a spouse. And I want to take you back to a party that you once attended. It was a pink duplex. And there was a younger guy who came to meet you. And I want to tell you, you can go the whole world, you will never see a husband except for that young guy. And then I want to say that we cannot say that the person has got to be younger or older. It has to go with maturity, like you said. If you feel that you are comfortable with this person, you do not have to think about what the next person is going to say about that relationship. Remember, at the end of the day, we are the one who's going to spend the rest of your life with this person. So if you never really liked the person, you will start to turn to an abusive person. Remember, you don't love this person, and they will start irritating the hell out of you. Then you will start slapping them around. And I'm speaking from experience. This one also that Pastor Nelly spoke about, that even in the churches, the pastors will start matchmaking the people because they know that Pastor Valentine is an asset to this church. And now Pastor Valentine brings a woman that they know nothing about. Then the pastor now feels that this person is not good enough for this. It happened to me in 2009. I was about to marry someone. Then now I told the person, go and tell your pastor. Remember this guy, we were friends, you know, when we were growing up. Now in our adult life, we get to meet again. And my son was now 14 years old. Then what transpired, it's what God showed me. This guy now tells the pastor. The pastor now felt that how can you marry a divorcee who's got a 14-year-old child? And you, as the guy, you don't have a child. Remember, this guy, we were compatible in every way. Whatever, you know, whatever I told him, you're gonna drive this kind of a car. He ended up buying it, even though he said that car was not his favorite. Exactly the same color that I told him about his work, because he was temporary. I told him, they're gonna hire you. Everything that I was telling him, I buy a CD. When I get to meet him over the weekend, he's bought the same CD. So I will say to you, never ever go with what the people are saying, because you will suffer the consequences at the end of the day. Pray and involve other people who are going to be genuine to you. Not that a person will write off the person that they do not know anything about. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we have a round of applause, please? That is such a valid question, especially because when ladies get to a certain age, the options are kind of limited. And this is what I mean, societally. But then the older a man gets, the more his options are. So let's look at a 40-year-old man and a 40-year-old woman. A 40-year-old woman, societally, can only marry from 40 upwards. But a 40-year-old man is looking for 39 downwards. So the pool is actually bigger, and I don't think it's fair, personally. So from a societal perspective, I know that in our natural state, if we see an old woman and a young girl, like, oh, sugar baby, it's just
societal norms that we are applying as if they are biblical norms. Meanwhile, they are not. At the end of the day, like I said, you go to church. I think also it will answer why it is we look outside of church. It's that same thing that it's familiarity. If pastor sees me, I don't know what personal intentions, whether they are genuine or not. So it's just easier to go outside where you can make a decision on your own than to have an influence decision internally. Like I said, it's not everything that will work out 100%. Yes, people, especially citing this thing, oh, a man is a provider, right? Yes, I think we also need to look at the times in which men needed to provide. We shouldn't be working if that's the case. I should not be going to a JOB, okay? If I'm going to be a provider, if he's going to be a provider, I should be taking care of the household. But in 2024, that's unrealistic. And hence you can't go to a man, look, I don't agree with 50-50, right? But you can't also expect a man to carry a whole household by himself when you are there. That's why I was saying that we go societal norms. It's what we've been taught, is that the man needs to provide the finances, and then we wonder why fathers are not involved, and they say, but I brought the money, that was my job. I brought the money, you have a house, you have food on your table, what more do you want? Provision is more than just finances. Like I said, I've seen it. I don't think it would be me, but I've seen it where husbands take care of the households and they are belittled for it, which is wrong. But their marriage succeed. So the undoing, we need to do a lot of unlearning. So just because you agree, you think an older man works for you, knock yourself out. That's for you. It's not necessarily for everyone.
Actually, I'll give you a joke. There's not that big, as long as you don't marry anyone that is old enough to be your mother.
Or your father.
As long as she's not old enough to be your mother. I just want to share this joke with you. There's a difference, a bigger difference between me and my husband. So when I'll be sitting with the children, so they're like, you know how children, teenagers think like this, like, actually, mommy, meaning when daddy was in grade 7, when you were born. And me, I didn't see it in that way, you know. However, I want to come to this point of, it's not fair, it wouldn't be fair for us to totally depend on your husband, you know, financially to that level. There was a time when my husband was not working, and I was working. You know, I didn't feel like now I'm the boss and then he's the servant. Although he would come, I would come back from work and then he has done everything. He's that type of a person. But I know, I could see the, many have got ego. That's how God created them. You know, if they don't contribute monetarily, they feel like, I'm not husband enough. In such a way that it affected some areas. But if you are a wife, you are ready to admonish him, saying that, no, God will give you your heart's desires. And thank God it came to pass, It doesn't mean that, like now we are dating, I don't say go and date somebody who's not working. But when you are sitting with somebody, ask them, what is your vision? Because you might date a person, he's driving a BMW, you see, this is what you see today. He's an engineer. I'm sorry, he's an engineer. This is what attracts you to the person. You don't know about tomorrow. When the person is unemployed tomorrow, he doesn't have a vision. The only vision that he has, I want to be an engineer. But how about that one who doesn't have a BMW and then who is not an engineer currently but is qualified? But he knows, he can see bigger and broader horizons. You tell me that you don't want to date that type of a person because you rather be rich, in terms of reasoning than being rich monetary, because these things, they come and go. Seasons change. Seasons change. Even the one that has a business today, it doesn't mean that the business will bloom all the time. It will go, it will on top, one day on the bottom, sometimes it will on the bottom. So, but how will the love, or the appreciation, because as one of the speakers said, it's not love that sustains the relationship. Will you be able to be in the veil together, loving this song?
Thank you very much. Let's give a round